Good evening, chat. Welcome to the Big 50. Actually, the Big 50 of ETF2L seasons. It's week 1. It's not the first match we're looking at this week, but it is week 1 nevertheless. Premiership. This time around, we're going to be looking at Witness versus PINT Gaming. A curious matchup for its likely liable to be the fastest regular season matchup yet. Because one team is Witness, which is the best team in Europe for like half a decade now. And then the other one is, well, a couple of newcomers. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hi, I'm Cerny, joined by Stu on production and Dave on the mic. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Looking forward to this game. I don't know how close it's going to be. I'll be honest, Witness, they're pretty much the team to be. They're pretty much champions of the universe right now.
Yeah.
After they won over in Denver. So, it's always a tough ask to take on Witness. Pint Gaming, they've been around a while. I believe it's their first foray into Prem, so not the easiest start for them by any means. But they do have some talented players. They do have some familiar Premiership names, but tough ask to take on such an illustrious team.
Yeah, I mean, we have some, like, a core of that team, right? With anybody but the scouts basically having a fair share of Prem experience. Hold on, let me double check the rosters again because I've already forgotten. Yeah, we got Seeds on mid, Alien on the demo, and then Warped Smile Soldiers. That's a good core. That's a decent core. I don't know if they've necessarily played together in that permutation much before, but they have experience. And then you got the scouts, right, with SK and Andy, who have stuck around the higher divisions, Div 1, Div 2 for a while. Highlander players as well, but no foray into Prem for either of those yet. So we'll see how well they can match up here, right? It's not just your first match in Prem for those two, it's also your first match in Prem against Witness, which is just, you're getting thrown right into the Hellfires straight away. Witness, who are, well, coming off of vacation, to be fair, right? They took the summer off. They were just chilling after being the best team in TF2, period. And now they have Syl back as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. That being said, Poppy isn't playing tonight. They have Hugo instead for that. So, it's interesting. Yeah, I want to see how Witness are faring up. Obviously, I doubt they're going to be stumbling much, right? I doubt Witness are going to be stumbling much, but they might be a little rusty. Who knows, right? Maybe it is just a cheeky round for Pint Gaming at least. That would be fun to see.
I mean, if there is some top-tier copium, you can say, No Pappy does change kind of how Witness operate to a certain extent. I know Thomas probably takes more of the main calls in the last 3 seasons they've played. He's kind of more influential in the calling nowadays, but still, I think No Pappy does hurt them a little bit, but, obviously having Silenta's back, having Hugo, 2 of the best soldiers in Europe over the last few years, so a formidable team regardless.
Yep. Well, we are getting started indeed. So let's look at this first map of Bagel, see how that's gonna go, and if there is a cheeky round in it for Pint Gaming, or if we're just gonna see excellence out of Witness straight off the bat. I suppose it's gonna be a little while before we can really see whether or not it's gonna come down to that first cap, because you gotta wait a little bit even on Bagel. Takes a little bit, not as long as it does on Viaduct in my opinion, but maybe that's just literally my poor observance. Either way, both teams be a little careful right now. Nobody overextending themselves, nobody going a bit too hard on it just yet. Finally, a bit of cap time being put down here by Pint Gaming. I just noticed the teams are swapped on the overlay. I'm sure production will get on that any second now. And the first frag actually going the way. A Smile picking up Silenta's on the side. That being said, no cap going either way just yet. Finally, Andy sticking that cap there. Almost flips the way of Pint. Not quite. They're going to block it just in time with the Uber coming through. It's a much better Uber for the side of Pint Gaming, but it's going to be on this post-Uber fight. It's going to be in this positioning. What will they actually be able to get with it? Andy, let's get that frag there onto Hugo as well. A little bit more follow-up, but even if they crap the point, they might have to concede ground eventually if Witness can actually get their foot in the door. That being said, Lucas traded out for Smile, but Thomas as well. It's not looking great for Witness at all right now.
Yeah, they lost so early, and now Auto's very, very weak and completely surrounded by blue gamers. Pint are they're gonna claim the first mid, they're gonna claim the first medic frag as well, and claim the first Uber advantage. So very, very good start for them. Very slow mid fight. Both teams just kind of feeling each other out, but certainly Pint coming out on top overall.
For the time being, at least. Let's see how long they can actually hang on to it as well. This may be just getting warmed up, right? It's probably the first time they're booting up the game in months at this point, but let's see if they can find their footing back again. That's 2 flare. Make it 3 down, including Auto. No Uber in play, no heals in play whatsoever. If they can keep their meds safe, Pint will be fine. That Hugo tries to have a work with it. Ixie's there with the cleanup as well, though. They salvage it. It could have been a terrible situation. Witness has now turned into something still not great, but at least they're going to have a slight ad to work with. They're going to have an easier chance getting out to that point, but still getting picked up again. Andy being very far forward there, very aggressive. Otto having to worry about it. And the bombing soldiers will Smile, not quite getting that, though. And it looks like they're finally able to stabilize a little bit on the side of Witness.
Yeah, perfect stickies from Lucas. Just knowing the soldier was the threat, the bomb was the threat. Just having stickies around his head. But the bombs are in once more. They're really going for Auto. Do claim him. Nice little frag there. So once more, Auto just absolutely the target. This time, the target has been acquired. The target has been eliminated. And now, once more, it's going to be Pint Gaming with the Uber advantage.
It is going to be them with the advantage, but they also don't have control of the point yet. They do have an extra minute up on Witness, to be fair, so that extra minute might just give them the time to, stall a little bit here, wait for a little bit, wait for that Uber to really come into play, and, well, with it almost around the corner, they might just want to use it, especially with the soldier bombs coming in as well, just in time. Manages to get it out of there. Lucas does pick up Andy, but that's the only frag they're probably going to get here, as long as, SK can stop beefing. Unfortunately, not quite a match right now for Thomas. Does lose that battle. You hate to see it, but happens to the best of us. They did lose Otto and all that scrambling again, though. Once more, Witness, even if they still control the point, and they somehow, kite that Uber pretty well. They're still not quite in a great position to keep capitalizing on it. And eventually, Pint should be getting on this point. There you go. Lots of cap time being put down. They get the players on just forward. And if they manage to get this cap rounded out, it should be very, very nice for them. But they're just not quite getting it. They're actually getting pushed back too much. Smile down, Andy down a little earlier as well. Ixie finding a flag there onto Alien isn't going to make it any easier. And Witness are hanging on to this.
Yeah, super aggressive from the Witness scouts because Lucas went down super early. He was just W'd in by Andy. Traded out eventually, but then that just allowed the Witness scouts to go forward, take full advantage. But talking about advantage, it's going to be an Uber advantage used in by Andy, taking the Uber aggressively, taking out Auto, Lucas, and Silantes as well. Just going to keep the medic alive here, though. Ow!
They do.
That's very close to an air shot, but not quite.
Not quite. And that's the last player cleaned up. A wipe for Witness, and Pint Gaming hanging on to it. They finally also have a chance to flip the point back in their favor. About 30 seconds down on the clock now to Witness, but a minute and a half, that's certainly possible. They got a forward hold, they got a big fat Uber ad to work with as well, and Witness are, well, they're sweating a little bit. They got to get through this. They managed to make some ground. They've managed to get that force out as well, even if they pay Silentis for it. I think that's a very fair deal. One soldier for an Uber makes it a lot easier for you to finally get yourself out there again, and certainly not something that Witness struggle with usually is getting through these forward holds as they kill Smile right there, open up the door, and that should get them back onto that point very, very quickly. Now if they can keep Otto alive, keep him safe for the time being, that's an Uber ad they can work with as well, and just the point pressure alone, so much cap time being put down. Witness do not want this clock to go in the favor of Pint for very long.
No, back it up here, Pint Gaming just playing back in the corner. There's so much space that's had to be given up because of the fear of that Auto Uber coming out, but Lucas has been taken out once more. Soki this time, SK, the scout, taking him. So once more, Lucas just a bit isolated. Finished off by a scout. That's going to open things up. Both soldiers now down for Witness as well. They're going to try and take the Uber in, but I think it's going to be relatively easy to kite. And actually, the counter Uber is able to come in, save Alien Smiley, the demo man. Don't think Thomas is long for this one. No, eventually is taken out by Andy, and Chase is maybe on. Maybe just going to bully Witness fully out of here. Put up some kind of forward hold. They have the time ticking now in their favour. It's going to be a very close round.
That's looking very, very interesting. It's getting down to the wire, actually, and Uber's being rather close as well. It was much better for Pint Gaming towards the tail end there, but it might not even matter who gets the next Uber, because if they don't speed up, there's no chance that they're going to get another one in this. They just have to go. 28 seconds left on the clock for Pint Gaming. Witness might just get one in time, but they will have to make great use of it, get some cap time of their own, get some overtime out of it. Unfortunately, both of the soldiers being dead already before they can use. Not necessarily great. They got a lot of damage onto the med, but they didn't get the kill. Pint Gaming are going to have their own Uber to respond with, and it's going to be down to the wire. Witness really cutting it close, trying to get this round on the board, trying to get back into this. Might have to give up the first round after all, with the Ubers now in play. Lots of cap time being put down as well. Means overtime will be in play. And it's going to be down. Close Uber positioning with Smile down. That's a player down for the side of Pint. Make it perhaps two. Never mind. Never mind, there's lots of damage being put down still, and Thomas out of the equation, but that's 2 more of the equation on the other side as well. It's still an everlasting fight. 11 seconds back now for Witness on the clock, and it's going to be dire for PINT Gaming to turn things around. They're so slightly trying to edge that cap a little bit, but they're not quite getting the time down. They find Lucas at the very least, but they find Alien on the other side, and this cap flips. It's PINT Gaming's round. Will they be able to do it, though?
There's so much cap time. It's down to Soki, it's down to Andy. They're taking a ton of damage. Slenter's coming in from the flank, just firing rockets, firing that splash. He's finding so many frags. They're cleaning everyone up. It is double overtime, but there's only Alien Smiley alive for the side of PINT, and Witness Gaming are going to sneak the first round, it looks like.
Is this the lack of Papi? Or was it just Witness playing with their food a bit, not warmed up enough, not taking it too seriously, because they were stumbling? That's not the Witness experience or performance that you necessarily expect, right? Especially going up against a team with 2 Prem newcomers. Sure, they might be very keen, they might be grinding a lot, but at the end of the day, they're Prem newcomers, right? And they're struggling a little bit right now, Witness, so it's an interesting first round. Still goes their way, though, and we're right back into the second one.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have a warm-up scrim, so maybe they're just finding their feet as of now, but they have the first round regardless. Witness still is now battling on the flank. So full flank rotation coming in. SK and Smile both going in behind, but still it's going to survive. And now he's in for a bomb. Onto Medic, takes down PINT's Medic. Andy is in a world of hurt as well. Nice rocket from Hugo onto him, finishing him off. This it's definitely going to allow Witness to assert themselves now with the heal advantage.
Lucas just going on an adventure, man. Together with Lucas as well, cutting off anybody from getting out of that lobby. It's just one player after another getting met with guerrilla warfare, and it's a very decisive first little mid-cap for Witness here with a big Uber in tow as well. This is the Witness we're more so used to seeing. Unfortunately, they're already stumbling a little bit again with for Lucas and Hugo going down, opening things quite a little bit for PINT Gaming here. They do have to worry about that Uber as well, though. And even if Witness wouldn't necessarily want to use it, the enemy's close enough and you can actually get away with something. I'm sure Thomas would be more than happy to take this Uber straight forward, and that's a Medic left in no man's land and just about evading somehow staying alive for the time being. Will Thomas finally get the kill? He does. Took a little longer than he might have wanted it to, and now Otto's in a bit of danger, but that doesn't matter. Thomas is protecting him anyway, and they're keeping this one up just fine.
Yeah, just couldn't quite find the right shots onto Auto, couldn't quite find the meat. Wasn't able to equalize the Medic situation now. Now they're trying to bust in through this lower door area. Oh, a beautiful shot there. Oh my god, goodbye. But either way, Alof now is chasing forward, looking to get aggressive. Actually, the bomb is in.
Ooh, Andy?
Hugo. Oh, but he gets destroyed as well. Nice shot onto him. But doesn't really matter because the Medic is down regardless.
That was a nice opportunity. We saw it on stream while you were busy looking at air shots that were never captured, unfortunately. Andy going for a nice little flank. Almost gets Auto, but doesn't quite. And again, it just means there's a full ad on the board for Witness. Even if the point flips for mere seconds, it doesn't matter much, because Witness are able to lock that place down immediately again. And with Alien out of the equation as well, it's just going to make it even harder. Neither soldier can get anywhere either. That's SK trying to get in again. No damage onto Auto, but near but a scratch. It's looking like a very decisive round. A very different Witness all of a sudden. They really just needed a warm-up round, and suddenly they're very much back in control.
Yeah, absolutely. Really far forward, asserting this forward hold. At the moment, PINT is struggling a little bit with it.
Okay.
Smile goes down to a trap. That's going to slow things down. They're still trying to bust through. They've made some space for themselves, but with no Andy, with no Smile, with 2 players down. They've got a lot of health chip off the side of Witness, but yeah, going to have to try and go again, and already we're down to 30 seconds left for the round for Witness.
Hugo just schooled in the back lines while trying to go for the med frag. Couldn't quite get it. Now Ubers are equal. Witness didn't have to use yet, but that also means they lost the ad, and this exchange that is very well underway on the point. Things could very much flip in either team's favor for the time being as spawners come in and players position themselves for the time when nobody's invincible anymore. And that's no Medic for the side of PINT Gaming. No heals. It means the wars of attrition is already favoring Witness, who are also in control of the point. There's barely any overtime. PINT Gaming had 9 seconds of point time on that entire round, which is, yeah, that's quite the quite the decisive round, I think, for Witness. The only way it's going to be even more dominant is if PINT never even capped to begin with. So Witness is starting to lock in a bit.
Yeah, it feels like they've warmed up a little bit now. Just got that first round out of the way. They got the W on the board for it regardless. And now they've really putting themselves, or they're really showing what they can do. Really got a stranglehold on that previous round. Opportunity now, another mid-fight, another chance for Point Gaming maybe to show what they can do. But it is, once more, a little bit slow on both sides.
Yeah, taking it slow. Lots of these Bagel mid-fights tend to play out this way, right? People just kind of seeing what they can get away with, which house they can take, which flank can get forward a little bit quicker. Looks like Witness get a little bit of early cap time, but immediately fades away as PINT aggresses as well. Andy, the first to fall, first side of PINT, but they do find Hugo in response. Still, meanwhile, with a big bomb straight into the medic. One rocket is always going to have to settle for, though. Not going to get the second one, and now that Ubers are in play for both here, it's going to be down to who has the better players if that Uber exchange does happen. Still being out of the equation means, at least numbers-wise right now, PINT Gaming is favored ever so slightly, but Cap is also almost mad right now flip for the Witness side here, so they will have the timer ticking down ever so slightly. And it's going to make it ever so much harder for PINT Gaming to really put the pressure on. As they're the first to Uber in, the response comes out of auto immediately as well. And again, it's going to be on this post-Uber positioning, but it's only one sole scout Uber in the midst of everybody that can't really hit much on Witness side at all. And now with the reset, we're just straight back to where we were. Sure, the point flips, but that's a soldier dead, that's a scout dead as well, and PINT Gaming are starting to bleed away.
And Ixie is in onto the medic and eventually does claim the frag required, does take Rutu, I believe, out. And now, Smile is thinking about if he can weave his way in. Also a little bit exposed at the moment. Thomas is coming back to him, but they're not really exactly sure where Smile is. Had a brief opportunity, but nice position from Auto to escape. Little mini surf there to make sure there wasn't going to be any follow-up from Smile.
So far, so good for PINT Gaming. Looking a bit decisive this round, this time around. Not looking as stumbly, but still down a little bit on the Uber. Means that they will have to be aggressive on this if they either want to get an early force out of auto or make the Uber bad and kite it well. So it's a knife's edge to play. Just getting auto right away straight to begin with is even better. Makes your life a whole lot easier. Now you don't got to worry about that whatsoever. You just got to keep your own meta alive, keep your own team alive, and maybe even, you know, make sure that you can actually roll this Uber ad forward. And so far, so good. There you are, making it fine, making it work. Now it's down to Witness to bust through here. At least they don't have to worry about the forward hold. They got to get back on that point eventually, though.
Yeah, PINT just played a little bit back. They probably worried briefly that maybe Witness would try and make something happen there. The squad is a little bit early, but either way, the Uber is going deep in. Duke is taken out with a big bomb from Tomashik or Alov. And now, I mean, they've got most of their players out of there. They've negotiated reasonably. Salentis is taken down on the flank. And Ixie as well. So flank completely down for Witness. Wasn't able to find anything. Just a nice death ball from PINT Gaming has really done well. It'll work wonders for them. Good spam coming in once more, this time from Smile. And at the moment, Witness can't really get a foothold.
They are struggling to really get in there, but the Uber does eventually come through. It's going to be allowing them to get into this mid area once more. Now they actually have to make it work though as well. Finding Alien is a nice frag. It will also allow them to flip the point. They are down about a minute on the clock, so that's a bit of time they got to work through. And there's an Uber almost ready on the other side again, so they really got to make this one stick, you know? It's not going to be the easiest one to hold on to this point forever. An early force out of Route 2 would very much so get them where they want to be right now, but they also really do need to make it happen. And any second that PINT gets to go forward here, there you go. Hugo does get the force, I guess, eventually, but does pay with his life. Is that going to be the only frag they find, though? As Witness scattered to the wind. Thomas gets picked up as well. Andy's just right in there, directly on top of Lucas. Gets that one out of the equation. Sure, but I think that's a small price to pay for such a crucial dismantling of the Witness combo. Wonderfully executed, and there you are once more. PINT Gaming, not just in the lead with the timer, they got the point as well, and they're right back on the clock.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a disaster for PINT there because the flash came off Alien Smiley just as the bomb came in, taking him out. But luckily, both demos were traded out in the exact same split second. So overall, worked out well for PINT. They still have a little bit of a time advantage. They still have the cap 4 now. Still waiting on Alien Smiley's spawn, but Thomas not in the fight. So maybe slow us down a little bit. They have to cap it up just standing in with the rest of the bomb is coming from Square, which doesn't get a liquid damage to also, and was really supported by the rest of the team.
Just look at Hugo, beautiful bomb, and does get the force out as well, but it might still be a decent Uber. They get across the point very quickly, but they won't find any more players. Witness have scattered enough. They will get the point back onto their side, but Witness is still in this. At least they're trying to be. They got to keep Otto in this though as well. They got to keep him alive, and they're doing okay so far, but they're bleeding players, and it's just not going all that well for them. They're not finding the pressure they really want to onto the point here. Now with 30 seconds left, PINT Gaming might find themselves at the cusp of finally getting around on the board if they actually manage to. But Witness still have that Uber to worry about on their side to use with, and even just the pressure of it alone is enough to get PINT Gaming to back off for now. Play the safe. Make sure that you don't get caught by anything unnecessary. You still have a minute to work with on Witness's clock. So you can take it slow, you can take it easy, get your own Uber going. You're not too far off, only 20% left, so might as well try, right?
Yeah, at the moment, PINT playing very, very close together, very in sync and compact, and the Witness are really kind of struggling to deal with it. But here we go, Thomas in with the Uber, immediately deletes Alien. Smile taken out as well. The flashes are not coming out to save these PINT Gaming players, so very nice trademark Thomas Uber, completely flipping the script, and now the clock is ticking in Witness's favor.
It's just a matter of time, before they close this map out 3-0. 15 seconds about left either side, but Witness with a very aggressive forward hold, making sure nobody will even get close, catching a whiff of that point at this point. Hope for the soldiers already low for PINT Gaming. They do manage to at least live for the time being, but there's the first going down. Hugo's still in the pack lane, just causing havoc, and it's just everybody getting mulched eventually as they try to funnel in. And there you go. Witness making it a little close for a couple of rounds, but ultimately still very much on top of the game. Getting a 3-0 onto a Bagel very quickly. Taking it to our second map straight away, fairly quickly. To be fair, as is to be expected, but PINT Gaming putting up more of a fight than I expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not surprised at all by 3-0. That's what I would have said had we done predictions before the game. But as you say, 2 of those rounds were pretty damn close. One was pretty dominant in the middle there, but overall, certainly a fight put up by PINT Gaming. They certainly weren't, completely outclassed there. Certainly good showing from them. Assuming, they probably didn't have the highest expectations going into the game.
Yeah.
But it is Bagel. We are going to be moving over to Sunshine. We are going to be moving over to 5 to be a different game mode. So we'll have to see if it plays out significantly differently or not. But I guess we can look at some numbers.
Yeah, looking at the logs. Thomas, who? Move aside, buddy. There's a new prodigy in town. His name is Andy. More damage, more frags than Thomas. I think the GOAT might be washed, guys. I think he might not be, might not be all he's chalked up to be anymore. Just saying, there could very well be a little bit of a fall off here. Nah, I'm just kidding. But still, Andy putting down a pretty monstrous performance, honestly. Doing pretty good, huh? He's I know he's been around Div 1 circles for quite a while. I've played some pugs with him way back in the day. I know he's pretty good at the game. I was not expecting him to just show up like this immediately in his first Prem match.
Yeah, it's really good showing from him. As you say, outdoing Thomas. Not many players over the last 2 years have been putting up numbers that even competed with Thomas, let alone outdoing him on a map. So really nice showing from him. And, it's interesting. It's almost kind of matching that kind of style, really, of just wanting to take aggressive Ubers in, really just having your medic commit with your pocket scout and being kind of really the focal point and really aggressive and really utilizing the impact you can have with the beam on you with the scout. Ended up with both of them having significant more damage than even the demo men on their teams. So, kind of mirroring each other's playstyle, but actually, Andy coming out on top so far in the game. But it is, it's going to need to even more of that and perhaps even more support from his team in order to make this second map go a different way.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very different approach for the second map, right? We were looking at Koth. There's always likely to be a scout just going haywire on those maps. They're just kind of suited to it a little bit more. We're going to Sunshine, I believe, next, so it's going to be a much different story, perhaps. Depends. Traditionally, you'd expect, again, Witness probably favored a little bit more to this, just like before, but this is, I think, going to be a more interesting test to really see PINT Gaming's abilities. Because while Koth maps are interesting and, you know, they're fun, quick, and exciting sometimes, they're also a bit of an oddball, right? They're more of a dark horse pick lots of the time. Lots of teams don't really like to play them to begin with, and it tends to be like expert teams that do really well on them. Ironically, Witness tends to be one of those. But, you know, like, they're not really an amazing way to gauge overall where a team's strategy is and all that stuff, because it just plays so differently from the majority of what you see in sixes, which is, well, the traditional 5CP, right?
Absolutely. And as we saw yesterday, you know, a map change can turn around fortunes for a team. We saw two teams, 4Fence and Dirty Maggots. They played... 4Fence were pretty dominant on Gully Wash overall. I mean, it was a close-ish game overall. But then as soon as it went to Sunshine, it was a completely different case of things. So I think Sunshine as well is a map that... I mean, it's obviously similar to the other 5CP maps, but I think it's one of those maps where the mid-fights are very, very impactful. Just because, you know, pretty much all the points are, like, kind of difficult to push. So...
Yeah.
Can really come down to like which team has the best mid-fights. And, you know, yesterday we saw one team kind of really dominated those mid-fights, and that's probably the main way that PINT Gaming can put themselves in contention here. They just need to like really win those mid-fights, really win them convincingly, and make Witness have a massive uphill battle for the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to say, oh, what's like the go-to strategy against Witness, because they always look so flawless, right? Most of the time, they can win anything. If we were playing on the Insano NA rule set, you'd say, well, you definitely don't want to take Witness to the war of attrition, because they've proven that they will absolutely trounce you if you do that. If the match goes on for long enough, it's like an inevitability that Witness will win. So, like, yeah, you probably want to, you know, slow the game down to your own pace. You don't want to start, like, let Witness start rolling away with it, let them start snowballing. But you also do not want to let them get too many opportunities, right? Because, like, if you slow down too much, get too stalemated, they'll just throw Syl in, and Syl will just do something. Now, he's, like, hasn't played in a while, right? He's taken an absence from the break for almost a year at this point, I'd say, right? I don't know when the last time we actually played a season was. It was quite a couple of seasons ago at this point, but I guess we'll see if he can still work his magic if it comes down to it. That being said, we're a go. First map went to Witness, but it was a bit closer than the scoreline would suggest. Now with Sunshine, another opportunity for PINT Gaming to put themselves on the map and picking up points. If you're talking about the season overall off of Witness, it's probably a pretty big deal, especially when you're trying to make a name for yourself in Premiership. Let's see how this first little mid-fight takes it either's team here. As Dave has mentioned, these may very well be very interesting, very exciting to go with, and two players down for the side of Witness already. I mean, a very low medic for the side of PINT Gaming as well, though, with, well, not much else to write home about, actually, because, yeah, it just looks like Witness have to get out of here. They got a scout escorting Auto out, and unfortunately, Thomas is a one-man army against 3 players. That's not going to happen, and there you go, a 1 mid-fight with a wipe out of the side of Witness as well.
Yeah, great dancing from Rutu around that little lip, just saving the medic, saving the Uber advantage, and good chase as well. Just immediately just press forward, knowing they had the player advantage, knowing they could super commit, super deep chase and auto down, claiming him, and now Uber advantage ready to go in from PINT Gaming.
It's the old fort of Witness versus the up-and-coming spunky new upstarts of PINT Gaming, as the Uber comes into last immediately onto that sentry, taken care of instantaneously. A little bit of captain being put down already as well, Alien locking down the spawn as best he can, and that's not going to be much that Witness really can do. They can't even get out onto the point. Eventually they do manage to just about block it. Ixie with the heavy as well, putting down enough damage to just narrowly defend that. That point was mere milliseconds away from getting capped out by PINT Gaming, but Witness hold it, and they will manage to get back out onto second as well. But I'm sure Pint Gaming aren't giving this one up just yet, as Andy is already down and lower, manages to fight off still. Now has to fight off Thomas as well. We'll lose that battle, but still, probably something to do when you're already caught in anyway. At least trade, and yeah, it probably slows down Witness ever so slightly, even if they have a full Uber now.
Yeah, pretty disastrous last push from Point Gaming, but
doesn't matter.
The drop comes in just the long-range pipe onto Auto in that choke area. Just went from 150 HP to 0 in a split second, and unfortunate for Auto, but very, very nice for Point Gaming. Now they can put some momentum. It's just playing it slow, waiting for those buffs to erase, to evaporate on the side of Witness, but Witness are already thinking about getting back to last, getting some setup going, because it's going to be full Uber advantage for Rutu.
And it's going to be a nice one as well for Pint Gaming. Even bigger ad than last time around, perhaps, if they get in quickly enough. The same old. Alien once more through the top side. No bomb this time. The sentry goes down anyway. Now they just have to get a bit of captain, get a bit of frags as well. And with that heavy coming out of spawn, it's only going to get tougher. The Sticky's still on the point as well. Andy's just edging out the point, though. Finally gets taken care of, but it doesn't matter. He got so much cap time. Just a couple more players finishing it up with everybody on Witness trapped in the spawn. And there you go. A round on the board for Pint Gaming. First in the series. And a snatch it right from under Witness's noses.
Yeah, absolutely. Much, much better last push that time. Really getting down into the spawn, really pinning all the players back and getting the cap time at the same time. Just those two things in combination were the difference.
If you beat Witness, does that make you the best team in the world automatically? Is that how this is going to work? So
the
like
universe,
Pint Gaming,
not just the world.
Pint Gaming they just took like a map off the best team in TF2. So that's saying a whole lot. Anyway, next mid fight underway. Perhaps things are going to be very different this time around. Witness did take a while to get warmed up on the last map as well. Hugo, unfortunately, not finding much with his early bombs, and they do get Alien eventually on the other side. It's a bit of an unfortunate, awkward mid at this point for Pint. They're all just kind of backed off into Cafe, eventually managed to recoalesce, get themselves out of there again, but they still have to deal with this Witness core around, and even if they don't have the soldiers to worry about, those scouts are something else to worry about at the end of the day. But a flank by Tomasz is enough to just get onto Otto anyway. And that might very well turn the tide here, unless Thomas and Ixie have a word with it. They do find SK. That's it. Andy's still there. They just follow it right back up and can't quite win the battle against Ixie, but Ixie gets cleaned up anyway. And it's still an ongoing mid-fight, but I feel like with the respawners, it's going to start favoring Pint sooner rather than later, especially because they have that Uber ad.
Yeah, they have the heal advantage, they have the Uber ad. They're playing it cautiously at the moment, just want to keep Rutu alive to use that Uber if they need to maybe block their point. Capture is starting to come in now. Lucas played a little bit cautious just with some stickies around the point, but looks like they're not going to need to use immediately. They're just walking in towards the point here, just muscling their way in, forcing those players back, and with Silentas going down, it is probably going to be nothing on the board for Witness in terms of making an aggressive play, maybe just backing up. Oh, actually, Uber's just going to be popped straight in. Big bombs coming in. Only Lucas to take out. Auto was already scooted really far back out of there. And it's going to use the Uber, take the second cap, but Auto is going to have an advantage now.
Yeah, but having 60% ad while you're on last is still not all that to write home about, right? You're still lacking your demo as well, which means you're going to have a much harder time really getting out. And if you're not really careful, like, they're going to try. They're a bit aggressive, at least in lobby, right? Going to make sure that nobody on Pint Gaming tries anything cheeky, but you really gotta have something to go off of if you're trying to push out here, even if you now have the full Uber. Rutu's been building so fast, already back up to 65%, so it's gonna be quite tough. They trade a soldier for a soldier. That might be another soldier trade in the midst as well, potentially, if Smile gets picked off here. Yeah, it does get picked off, but they do lose Ixie for it, so again, it's not all that favorable for Witness. All that being said, they still managed to take second anyway. Just bully themselves in there. Alien going down as well might just turn the tides here. And Pint Gaming still don't quite have, so they really have to be careful now.
Yeah, one of the things with a team like Witness where they've beaten everyone for a few years is you do not lack confidence. And you can see, lesser teams would have been, very, very cautious about how you push out, making sure you're checking all your angles, making sure you're not getting backcapped, making sure the forces aren't coming in. But Witness, they're just going to play aggressive, they're just going to play with no fear, and they take mid off the back of it, and still even looking to pressure into second now.
I mean, a little bit of momentum goes a long way, and with the Ubers equalized as well, it may just be an opportunity for the first little bit of stalemating, if they so desire, but obviously the ball is in Witness's court. They're down around, they have to make something happen, still going down, unfortunately for his troubles, isn't going to make things any easier, and that's immediately maybe gonna prompt a little bit of response out of PINT as well. If they can get a bit more aggressive, send a soldier in of their own, maybe try to open the door themselves, but they might also just be content with running out the clock a little bit, giving themselves every opportunity, more time to, you know, just secure this lead, be in the lead for a little bit longer, put Witness under more pressure as well, and see how that goes, right? I suppose we'll see. Also, I've just now noticed, and they're talking about in the in-game chat, the round timer is not on 5 minutes.
Oh, we're in an old config.
Apparently they gotta fix their config. I'm sure they're gonna fix that fairly soon. Anyway, still a little bit of a stalemate going on, right? It's just the teams trying to find something. Unfortunately, Thomas and Sil, again, not quite getting anything done. Thomas just eating a couple of pipes isn't gonna make it any easier, and here goes Ixie on the flank as well, so it's not looking that great for Witness trying to make this happen. Matter of fact, they gotta watch out. They gotta be careful because Otto's on a lot of pressure straight away and will have to pop, forced to that one as Lucas goes down as well somehow throughout all of that, and it's just not looking that hot for Witness right now, man. They really gotta watch out.
Yeah, it's actually Arrow from Rutu just finishing off the damage required, but yeah, Lucas got isolated. I mean, when you lose 3 in a sack like that, you need to really scoot back out of there, and so far PINT have been really, really aggressive in their transitions, really chasing players down. They've got a couple of soldiers they have to deal with on this mid. And Silentes is still going. Eventually, Smile is able to take him out, but he's done a lot of damage in the meantime. It's going to allow Thomas to get one onto... Oh my god, Thomas has gone down now, but still Witness are fighting. It's still 3 versus 3 in this contest. Really, both teams scrapping it out hard. But it is going to settle down just for a minute. Players get their heals up, get their respawns going, and with a bit of advantage for Auto, they're going to be looking to move into mid.
Witness stumbling for a little while, now finding their footing again, but it's still not going to get any easier. There's a lot of aggression here out of PINT Gaming on this midpoint still. They want to make sure that this Uber ad that Auto has is out of the equation as best they can. Unfortunately for them, nobody just can quite find that window, but they do have a soldier in behind. He's going for the back cap as well. Ixie might just be able to outcap it, or if Witness decide to stack, but they just decide to go for the frag onto Rutu, which is also a pretty fair thing to do, especially now with the back cap being much more of a threat. Smile's just getting away with it. He gets away with it completely. Matter of fact, he might just get to last and have somebody help him out as well. If this is how they get a second round, Witness are gonna hate to see it, and oh, they just about get blocked from having it happen and still trade out for Lucas regardless.
Yeah, very, very close. But either way, it's going to allow Witness now that that kind of threat has been taken care of. They're going to be able to move onto mid. They're going to be able to pressure forward. They have a bit of uber advantage once more. There's a sniper in this forward. Andy went for it, didn't quite find what he was looking for. Probably the snipe onto Auto would have been the ideal prize target. But either way, it's going to allow Witness to continue. I mean, just slowing down a little bit here, looking to move in through this cafe area. A lot of damage down onto Smile. Continuing the forward momentum, continuing the pressure, but Rutu is nearly up at Uber themselves.
Starting to be an interesting stalemate. Andy picking up the sniper rifle as well. Not quite hitting the shots just yet. Perhaps a little bit too much pressure on him as well as the aggression comes forward, and Witness finally seem to have found their groove, at least a little bit, on these pushes. That's a headshot being rung out though, and pause straight up to follow it with. So there's a chance that Witness either completely botched this push here, and that's why they pause, or it's the classic Smile pause talk. They're going to fix the config, right? That's why they're pausing. That's very fair. It hasn't really come into play yet, because there has not been a longer than 5 minute stalemate, but yes, that's very fair.
Yeah, the classic third reason for the pause, you know, it could be tactical, could be technical, could be you've just put the wrong config in on the game and then seeing if they can fix it in real time.
We've been on a 5 minute timer for like 2 or 3 years at this point. You'd think that, you know, it should be easier to remember to use the right one. Damn, I didn't know they still made the 10-minute config, honestly. I guess why wouldn't it still be around, but that's a funny one, and apparently that's a struggle if it needs a whole pause to do. But okay, let's you know, put on my Nostradamus thinking cap. The reason they're doing it now is probably because Witness wins this round. It's a great time to do it, right? When you're just at the between round section, you don't lose out on anything. It's most likely the outcome of this. Now, Dave, draw it up for me on the whiteboard. What's the move here? How does Witness win this round?
Maybe an Uber drop. That was how they lost a round. So
True.
maybe that's what they're looking for. I mean, there's really kind of, there's no significant advantage with them. Obviously, when you have control of the second point like this, it is kind of a springboard where you can do a lot of things. It's difficult for that team stuck on last to really make too many moves. They can do what we're seeing them do here, just bring Andy out on Sniper to just peek and go for some kind of hero shot, just go for something a little bit special, but, generally low risk. Bomb in now. They went followed in with Ixie as well, but no damage down onto the medic, and both those players claiming out maybe an opportunity to push out.
No, actually, looks like Witness are not going to be able to push it in right away, yeah. Andy getting the nice little headshot there to clean up Ixie as well, managing to shut down any sort of early cap time, and even if Andy gets taken down now, that's still looking pretty nice to just keep holding onto this for longer. That being said, Tomas finding a lot of aggression there with his counterpart of the same name, well, similar name. Eventually Tomas gets taken down though, and it's looking like just about PINT Gaming can stabilize ever so slightly. Still, Witness are trying to get a little bit of a prod in this. The less time they give PINT Gaming to really set up, the better, but Lucas ain't gonna be having much to get away with as Smile takes him down, and it's a soldier pirouetting around and somehow still gets that! Okay, he's back. Sil is back.
Oh my god, Sil round the world. That was a crazy bomb, surfing the incoming damage from the sentry gun, still finding the medic, still landing on top of the medic. And there we go, finding the required rockets, finding that frag, and now also has Uber advantage. Oh, maybe not though, Andy. With the stab, equalizing things, maybe still an opportunity for Witness to push, although not looking like they're too keen to do it.
I mean, if it's in a competition, Sil's medic drop was still a lot more stylish, but that is huge. That is huge by Andy. Again, just head in the game, perfectly timed with that spy play. Managed to equalize it immediately. Now, bit of an ad here for Rutu. Not much, but it is still something. And PINT Gaming, well, they're gonna have to hold this for a while. This is also where the pause happened. I'm assuming this is where they try to fix the config somehow, and I guess we'll see if they actually manage to at some point, because the timer still says 8 minutes, but maybe that's just a display bug because we're in the middle of a round. Either way, gonna be interesting to see how Witness can actually try to puzzle this one out, because it's not as quick as you thought it was, right? You would have thought maybe after that medic drop, but nope. They had a response, and now they have to do this the old-fashioned way, which is probably going to be a little bit tougher for them, because that defense is established now. It is going to be much harder to just get through it easily. That being said, the sentry did just get taken down, so maybe I'm just talking up my ass.
Oh my god, Sil lived for an absolute age there, but seemed to completely lose track of Rutu the medic and wasn't able to focus that damage down really nicely. Milk them lost a couple of players, so still in a little bit of peril. Not too many defenders. The sentry gun's only up at level 1, only starting to find out. Cap time coming in as well from Ixie, who takes a lot of damage for it. Lucas a little bit exposed on the flank as well. Suddenly Ixie is walking back in and followed up by Tomas. A double scouts, a 4x cap. And there we go, Witness claim the round.
Took a little bit of an unorthodox push as well at the end, but here we are. They equalize a Witness back in the game. Wouldn't have expected them to, go down a round ever, but hey, we'll see. Round timer is still at 10 minutes as well. Maybe they've just given up. Maybe they just decided they're going to forfeit this match. I don't know. I don't really know, how they feel about it. Maybe they're just having fun with it. Either way, 1-0. Next mid fight. About half of the map time left. It's anybody's game, and with how PINT Gaming been looking so far, certainly an opportunity for them to find themselves back into this match as well, because Witness took a lot more. It was a lot more of an arduous task for them to get that round on the board. Now, the next mid fight, well, that's one scout out of the equation for PINT Gaming, and the rest of the team also very low. That's a soldier down. Lot better of a mid fight for Witness here. Smile taken out of the equation as well, and it looks like this is a done deal. They managed to at least get an overextended Ixie out of the equation, but yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get going at all, their PINT Gaming on that mid-fight. Just beautiful sync bombs coming in from Hugo and Sil. They're just perfectly in tandem in the air, circling around. And I could only admire them, and then PINT Gaming could only stand and admire them. Damage was coming in. Doing their best to claim still entity in this lighthouse area now, and a little bit of pressure coming in, and actually with Lucas being gunned down as well. He is gonna fall, and now it's gonna be Witness with the tower between the legs, going back 2 of those explosive clappers down, and looking to just hold on to this mid.
It's looking like PINT Gaming are still in this. Matter of fact, they're going to use that Uber very aggressively, very early here. Unfortunately for them, Otto is not getting enough pressure put onto him to actually have to pop by himself, so Witness are going to hang on to their Uber. Smile's going to get taken care of as well. Eventually, Otto pops, but that's already 2 players down just to get that Uber out of the equation, which is much better and allows Witness to just get straight up back across the point. PINT didn't even manage to cap either, and it's looking like Witness are going to be just in control for a while longer. Still absolutely schooling Tomasz there, just lined them up perfectly. You love to see that. That's just a classic move. Didn't even have to do much. Andy eventually does trade himself out for Syl, but doesn't really matter if you're already trying to get back to your loss. You're down 2 players, trying to set up a bit of a defense, and Witness are tasting blood. They know there's blood in the water. They want to keep going onto this last quickly and get this over with.
Looking to shut down these entrances are PINT Gaming with Smile just bombing in and taking a ton of damage for his troubles. I love Thomas Schick now as well. He's actually going to find the frag onto Ixie, so maybe just going to slow down the Witness game as they're going to back up to second and not peek too much, starting to maneuver themselves back into lobby. But opportunity, maybe Ixie come up on an off class or not.
Andy back on the sniper as well, trying to go for lower, and while a soldier comes on through, Syl, lots of damage there onto Rutu, but Rutu with the balls, enough to not pop, keeping that Uber in the equation. That's going to make it a bit tougher for Witness now with both soldiers out of the equation as well. Maybe opens up a door for some shenanigans on the side of PINT Gaming. They really want this Andy headshot, and Witness are aware that sniper's in play. They're not going to let it rattle them too much again. Even just a headshot onto the scout here would certainly open things up, but with the soldiers back in the game, it's back to the reset. It's going to be interesting how PINT Gaming can hold on to this, especially with the round timer not being correct. They can't play for the round reset. They can't afford to, because as soon as that round timer hits the 5-minute mark, it should have ended. So they would be in violation of the rules. As long as it never comes into play, it doesn't matter that the round timer is wrong. For the time being, though, if they do want to play for that round reset, well, they can't. Which might just not favor them that much to begin with. I guess we'll see what Witness tries to do here. It's still 1-all. Either team can take it, and well, if Witness want to put themselves a bit of a cushion, they certainly would want another round on the board.
They're going in with the soldiers. One gets deleted there. Celentes, nice little reflect from Andy up on the pyro to stall him down, take him out. And now with 3 players down, Ixie as well in the sack, getting taken out. Just 3 players in concert here for Witness Gaming, looking to continue the block onto second. Players flooding out. Andy up onto the point, also taking some spam as well. Tomasz is not going to stop. He's just going to run in, eventually taken out by Andy. Lucas is really far forward still. And despite really not getting any frags there on the side of Witness, done enough.
Done enough to stay back in this, and either Uber getting used just yet, which means this exchange on last is inevitably going to happen as Ixie just runs back on forward, tries to do a little bit with a lot, and unfortunately doesn't quite get the frag onto Alien that he really wanted there, but hey, at least it's an attempt. Again, it might just bait PINT Gaming out to be a bit too aggressive here, right? I feel like at this point, Witness might just be banking on that. On this aggressive Uber exchange on second. Otto eating a lot of damage before finally popping by himself, and the Uber looks like it might fade a little bit sooner for him as well. He had to flash a little bit, perhaps a little tad. It's enough for PINT Gaming to get second. They didn't make a mistake just yet that Witness can capitalize on. Andy does go dangerous though, and eventually does get cleaned up as well, though, with Smile out of the equation. There goes Alien as well. They only found Syl, and it's looking like Witness finally got the mistake out of the enemies they wanted.
Yeah, Rutu completely isolated for just a minute. Soki is going to come back and up onto the heavy. I don't know if the heavy's the class you want for a solo defense in. He's not even able to leave it. Spawn cap time already coming in. Block from Smile isn't enough. Does stall it for a little bit longer, but just a flood of red Witness boys are onto the point. They're going to claim the second round.
Just like that, Witness back in the lead. Now with 10 minutes on the clock. Still plenty of time for either team to end this out in regulation time if they really wanted to, but realistically, we're not going to the 5 on either side here. That being said, PINT Gaming looked strong at the start. They have to find that footing again. They need to regain a little bit of the momentum that they had, because as soon as Witness starts getting into control, that's the dire times if you're going up against a titan like that. So this next mid-fight may very well be the one that decides it. PINT Gaming did well on their first one. That's what won them the round eventually, but unfortunately, you losing your medic really early isn't going to make it any easier. Sure, you found both soldiers. Now it's down to how can you get onto Otto. He's got two scouts, my bad, and a demo completely bunkering him up. And that's a little bit of a juggle. It's Gets a little bit of damage onto him. Unfortunately for them, they're not quite finding the frag though. There goes Andy. That's your carry out of the equation, and Otto even has that Uber ready just in case he needs it. Which, at this point, he might just have to use. He's going dangerously low, but he also has trust in his scouts to just keep him safe, and Ixie is just tearing up the entire enemy team.
Smiley, last person alive, isn't able to find what he needs. I mean, brave play from Auto. Ate some kind of long-range spam when it was already fairly low, but does milk out. Does back up into that cafe area, getting the health back, and now having a full Uber ready to go into last.
This is looking like a very different Witness all of a sudden. Not the one we saw in the first round. Very much decisive, capitalizing on their advantages immediately. Hugo does have to pay with his life, but they find a response with a frag onto a soldier anyway, and Usoki's still out of the equation as well. It's only looking ever so much more likely that Witness will be able to close this out. They have a full Uber still, while they're just spawn camping effectively. Eventually they pop it. Don't quite find the frags, but they crucially did get the enemy med, so even if they don't win the round now, they have a silver platter opportunity for the next push after this, as long as they can get Otto out alive. And at this rate, they might just have to try and do that, as he's getting a lot of pressure put onto him, with the rest of the team of Witness slowly but surely managing to regain their grounds here on last. Slowly but surely winning the war of attrition, and there you go. 3-1. Witness are back in this.
Yeah, slightly unconventional, just going all the way into last, with mid not even having been finished capping, so basically having to push 5v6. Obviously you had the Uber advantage and they did milk it very, very nicely. They did play their positions quite nicely to win those damage rates on the last one. Thought for a minute it was looking a little bit questionable, but just that team play, that team fight, that focus fire coming through for Witness and really now asserting themselves as the premier team.
They're starting to pick up the pace, get the momentum on the road. I was saying that there might be a chance we won't see the 5 scoreline come to fruition, but at this rate they might just do it if they keep up the speed. That being said, this mid is going a little bit better, at least for PINT Gaming. They still lost their mid, but they also found the enemy one, and in terms of trades, they're actually doing pretty alright so far. Only Hugo and Sil left on the other side, and at least one of those soldiers is a bit out of the equation for a while, a bit low. It's going to be down to Scouts and Smile to really close this out. They find Silentes, it's Hugo or nothing, and well, the Hugo might have to just cower in fear and run away from these Scouts because they're quite scared to go up against. I don't really blame him. That's very fair. He's out of there. But that's a 1 mid though. PINT Gaming actually putting themselves back on a mid fight for once.
Yeah, really nice stuff. Just, you know, Sil is always a tricky customer to come up against, but they did a good job of just playing smart around him, isolating him, absolutely encircling him. Smile, though, is going to get caught out by a sticky trap just as he bombs through the check. Alov going very, very low as well. Eventually, it's going to be Hugo finding the frag onto him. So no soldiers here for PINT Gaming. They're already backing up. They're already seeing Lucas bombing in at the choke point, taking out his counterpart Devon with the help of Ixie. And now, with 3 players down for PINT Gaming, they just holding their skin. They're looking to actually, take the trade in, waiting some respawns. Actually, Auto, he's just taken out.
I don't think he had yet, so that was very aggressive out of Witness. I guess they were expecting to get away with more, but the Uber does actually catch him, and that's a wipe out of the side of Witness. A little bit too eager, maybe a bit too overconfident. A slow and insidious killer, as some may say, but that time it was quite the fast killer instead, and now PINT Gaming is back in the saddle. They still have to make quite a lot of stuff happen here, though. They're still down 2 rounds. They still have to get up to the second as quickly as possible, because the forward spawn is already there for Witness as well, and that's Andy taken out of the equation, so that's only going to make it a little bit harder as well. They do find Thomas. They do trade Pomash out for it on the other side, as well as Lucas starts hitting the pipes, trying to keep his medic safe, but unfortunately, Otto just eats too much damage. Smile has his number right now. Unfortunately, Hugo has Rutu's number as well. It's an all-out DM fest. Everybody's just battling everywhere. And the mid is being capped a little bit, at least by Ixie. Soki kind of winning that fight. That's a very low Lucas as well, finally taken care of, and PINT Gaming are hanging onto the mid.
Yeah, both teams were just battling over Witness's choke, but what they kind of didn't realize is whoever was stood in there was just absolutely eating incredible amounts of damage, really taking the pain. And, both medics went down in that auto spawn a little bit fast, going to have a tiny advantage. But the fighting is continuing. The bomb is in from Hugo. Both soldiers landing on top of that PINT combo. And now it's just Auto and Lucas. 2 players alive. Can they defend it?
Yeah.
No. Lucas can't find the pipes required. 2 scouts running him down, taking him out. And it is I mean, Andy's on last. I think he's probably going to want to evacuate here.
Yeah, I don't think he can do this alone against 3 players, but hey, maybe they don't see him. They didn't see him for a bit. He gets a little bit of cap time and actually trades with Hugo as well. Throughout all of that, he still gets away with trading. That's crazy. But still, that's putting a lot of pressure there onto Witness. They have to hold last now. They have no choice. They're at a disad as well, albeit not a large one, but this is going to be quite something for PINT Gaming to make an opportunity to work here. They have to try and get this round on the board. They only got 4 minutes to equalize, take it to a golden cap, let alone win in regulation time. So at this point, 2 rounds in 4 minutes, it's certainly a tall order. It is possible, but they gotta move now. If they can close this one out quickly, it's gonna give them a little bit more to work with for the next one. They need to make this Uber stick. That sentry's very far forward. Does eventually get taken down pretty quickly, though. It's going to be down to how much cap time can they get. How much frags can they get? Can they shut down players crucially in spawn or something like that? Finally, a player dies, and it is unfortunately for PINT Gaming their star scout right now. With Andy out of the equation, that means that there's the rest of the team is backed out as well, and they know what is at risk here. They know the stakes, and unfortunately for them, Otto now has a full Uber to work with as well, so it's only going to get harder.
Yeah, they had a decent enough entry, but didn't have that kind of pocket bomb that you tend to do going down on the right-hand spawn door. And Witness were just able to sweep themselves out through that spawn door very, very easily. Very nice rotation. There's a few players in behind they have to deal with now. The bomb's coming in from Thomas Schick's gonna find the force out onto Auto.
Rutu was alone there for a second. Does manage to narrowly escape for the time being, but still being chased. Does meet up with his team, though. That medic will be safe. Andy back on the sniper as well. Oh, what a shot! What a beautiful quick shot there just to dispose of Otto and keep his team back in this straight away. There you go. That's what you need. That's definitely what you need there, because now Rutu is such a massive ad to work with. And here we are. It's another opportunity for PINT Gaming to convert something. It's a bit of an uphill climb, but they gotta make it work. 3 minutes on the clock. Time is ticking. And Witness, they know they just have to slow it down a little bit. There's no round resets to worry about or anything like that. They just got to slow down the pace a little bit, and they have this. Now the Uber comes out to PINT Gaming, and they do... well, they lose Smile, actually. I was going to say they find some, but nah, they just lose Smile, and that's all they really do. They also lose their other soldier, and well, Otto takes a little bit of damage, but there goes Andy, and it's starting to fall apart a bit, I think.
Yeah, time pressure really on PINT Gaming, using the Uber through the choke, just focusing down on the sniper that was able to evacuate regardless. Now, you're going to see just Witness going forward. They have Uber ready. Well, actually, Auto's fake call in there. It's baiting me out as well, but as well as scaring PINT Gaming. But just fully bullies PINT Gaming out of there, and they still have an Uber advantage here.
It's gonna be a do or die for PINT Gaming. 2 minutes left on the clock for 2 rounds. It's starting to look kind of impossible, especially in this position. So, unfortunately for them, it looks like their ship has sailed. They're not quite gonna be able to fell the Titans, but I think they made Witness put up way more of a fight than Witness was really expecting. Perhaps it's the lack of happy. Perhaps it's, you know, the lack of play in recent months. But Witness, they looked vulnerable. They looked vulnerable on this map so far, and on the series really. Even if they win at the end of the day and they win both maps, these Titans can be felled. They are not invulnerable anymore, and these young prodigies, these young ones coming up, they might just be the ones to do it eventually. That being said, it doesn't look like PINT Gaming will be having that glory just this time around, as Witness are slowly but surely winning wars of attrition, and slowly but surely probably converting another round right before our very eyes, unless Otto just dies here. I don't know what he's doing against Alien at this point. Somehow Alien just can't hit the pipes for his life. Oh well.
Yeah,
happens to the rest of us.
Both teams now resigned to knowing exactly how this game is going to go down. You know, one last attempt to just stall this kind of Witness Gaming offense. Actually, SK coming through with some big meat shots to clean up. Wanted to keep it a little bit closer. Wanted to keep it down to those 3 rounds. Going to be able to block the point here. Our PINT Gaming players looking to get a little bit more aggressive, going for some cheeky plays. Actually, Lucas with a nice pipe out onto Thomas Schick, but it doesn't really matter because Alien is bombing in. He's finding a nice frag on, but also in the meantime as well.
Thomas hitting the GG and leaving 30 seconds before the round even ends. He's got places to be, clearly. He's got places to be, but that is indeed GG's. Witness do take both maps. Took them a bit. Probably put up more of a fight than they were expecting, perhaps, but hey, they got places to go, as do PINT Gaming probably. But even if you lost, even if you're PINT Gaming here, I think that is a very, very convincing first week matchup to have. If you're gonna be like putting up a fight against Witness, week 1 is probably the time to do it. They tend to get better throughout the season, especially as they get, warmed up back into it again. So this was the perfect time for them to put on a show, to show us what they're made of, to show us what they can do. They certainly convinced me. I was not expecting this much out of them, and I'm excited to see what else they can do, because I was firmly expecting, just from a experience level, that PINT Gaming are going to be, someone's got to be the bottom team in Prem, and I thought they were going to be the one, but now I'm not so sure. Now I'm not so sure. They've convinced me otherwise. They've shown what they're made of, and well, you can see the numbers for yourself. There's a fair bit of stuff going on with this team. They got quite some solid going on. I mean, a 41 bomb out of Andy, that's nothing to scoff at,
Yeah, and Smile as well. Put in a really good performance. 25 frag, second fragging in the server, and nearly top damage. Lucas has just eked him out by 1 extra damage per minute, but either way, Smile and Andy both really put it in a good show and really showing what they can do and what they can bring, and impressive stuff. And overall, I think the team play from PINT was pretty solid. Seen a lot of perhaps more, teams with more experience, with more expectations, come up against these Witness Gaming guys, completely crumble, get completely demolished. And this PINT Gaming team, they really made it a contest on both maps.
Yeah, they were putting up a surprising fight, and I'm excited to see where this team goes. It's been rare that we've seen a startup like this, so it's gonna be quite something. Also, yes. What does production want to tell me? I'm being interrupted. Yes. Yes, thank you very much. The wonderful voice in my ear. But yeah, that is basically it from us for tonight. Chat, it's been a wonderful time. Shoutouts to Manco.store for sponsoring the season, by the way. It's something to mention. Season 50, it's the big 50 of ETF2L. I do not believe there are going to be any more matches for us to observe this week. Until that changes in the short term, it can always happen. Maybe JMax decides that a short-term match can still be observed. If not, I suppose we'll see you again next week for more action, and look forward to that, I guess. Unless Dave has any closing words, that's it from me.
Shout out to Davey, my biggest fan. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next time.